What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Anthony and this is Watch With Me. Today we're going to be talking about a micro brand called McGrawT, which every time I say it I think of Inglorious Bastards. Magrette.
Margarete. Un'altra volta, ma adesso vorrei proprio sentire la musica delle parole. Margarete.
And I feel a little silly saying it, but nonetheless, this brand, I actually owned a piece of theirs in the past, and I was thinking about kind of the similarities that this brand has with Panerai, but obviously at a much more affordable price point. But before we get into that, wristwatch check, I am wearing my Panerai. I actually been wearing it a lot lately. I'm falling in love with it again. And through that, I was kind of thinking about the price point for the Panerai and how I've always loved this brand, but when I was younger and couldn't afford this watch, I owned a McGrawT timepiece and I fell in love with it, and it kind of led me up to eventually owning this piece. So that's what this episode is going to be about. Enough of my watch, let's get into it. So for those of you who don't know McGrawT, they are a New Zealand watch company. They're really trying to create something that's completely different in the micro brand community, which is they're kind of creating a new design. They're not so much paying homage to an existing piece like a Rolex Submariner or other watches out there. In my opinion, there are similarities to, let's say, the Panerai, but in its own right, they are very different. One, they're from New Zealand. Two, they're very much sailing inspired watches, so they're all going to be water resistant. And what I love most about the watch is they're using top quality materials. So you're getting ceramic bezels, you're getting sapphire crystals with anti-reflective coating, and you're also getting just a well-designed watch. In terms of their movements, they're using Miyota movements, and they're also using the Sellita SW200 movement. I'm a big fan of the Sellita movements. They're all Swiss movements, very reliable. They're basically replicas of like an ETA 2824 movement, and these are in watches that are under $700. Brands like IWC, Breitling, and so on and so forth are using Sellita movements. They don't advertise it, but I know for a fact because I've worked for some of these companies and I've seen it firsthand. And now you're getting the same movement in watches that cost under $600. Not only that, you're getting really cool materials, like some of their watches are in bronze, which I absolutely love, as well as watches that are PVD coated. Now, although I do have a problem with PVD, in the past, companies weren't using as great of a process to use the PVD, and it would flake off. Obviously, since then with technology, the PVD coating doesn't flake off. It can be scratched. It isn't as strong as DLC, which is diamond white carbon. That's the process that the top brands are using. In order to get there, you're usually spending in excess of $3,000. McGrawT is using PVD, but at under $600, which, if you like the all blacked out look, is awesome. And on top of that, they have a much higher end line. They're usually limited editions of 10 pieces or sometimes 20 pieces, but the whole case is hand engraved, giving an absolutely unique look on the wrist and a real piece of art. Not to mention it's a mechanical watch, so I mean, obviously I'm gonna love that, but for its aesthetic purposes, a hand engraved case, knowing there's only 10 for the world, you can't beat it. Those watches tend to be in the $1,500 range to $2,000 range, which I understand is a lot of money, but when you're getting hours and hours of detailed hand engraving work on a case, if you divide that by the hourly wage plus the materials of the watch, it's an absolute bargain and just a super unique watch. I think that this micro brand is doing such an amazing job on making timepieces. Where I feel they're falling short is their advertising. If you're really not in the watch community or even the micro brand segment, you might not have even heard about this brand. When I first got into collecting watches, I couldn't afford some of the higher end pieces, so I stuck with micro brands. I think micro brands are one of the best values out there in terms of watch collecting and kind of figuring out what you want to buy. I didn't have the money to spend $8,000 on a Panerai. I spent $600 on a McGrawT watch and realized I loved it. And when I was able to spend that much money, I knew I would enjoy this watch and I didn't have to fear about, buying it and not liking it after some time. So I think not only are they a great watch, but it's also a nice stepping stone to get you into that higher end kind of watch segment. So quicker video. Please do me a favor, if you like this video, leave a comment down below. Have you heard about this brand? Do you own one of these watches? Which one is your favorite? They're releasing a new watch, which is kind of like a Panerai style watch without the crown guard, mixed with a rotating bezel. It's a ceramic bezel, super luminova, an SW200 movement, and I think it's around $650, 42 millimeter, and it comes with different NATO straps. So to me, it's an absolute home run. I'm thinking about purchasing one. Leave a comment down below of what you think, and if you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate it. We're almost at 300 subscribers. I'm gonna be announcing what we're gonna be giving away at 500 very soon. But until next time, guys, take it easy.